Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another board game review. Today I'll be telling you that why you should play Cartographer Heroes. Now this game is pretty much similar to the default or vanilla Cartographers. So whether you watch this review or the review of Cartographer Heroes, consider them pretty much same. The only difference is going to be that they changed the map a little bit. Some of the symbols on these map are not going to become applicable because they relate to cartographers. So this pack can be played as a standalone game as well as it can be played as an expansion to cartographers by adding a little bit more. And what that more is going to be the heroes that get added in the game. But I'm going to be reviewing this game as a standalone, considering that you are not aware of how cartographer works, and going to explain how everything is going to work in this game. This is essentially a flip and write game or a roll and write game in which you will be flipping up cards which will show some polynomial shape, that is Tetris like shapes. You will be drawing those shapes on your pieces of map. Those maps are going to indicate which areas you have successfully mapped. The more areas you map strategically based upon some scoring criteria, you will be gaining more and more points based on the 4 rounds of game that will be played. The player who gains most points is going to be the winner. And that's the game of cartographers. Now, let's go into closer to the table and I will show you how the game is played. Then we'll come back and I will tell you my final thoughts. First of all, how the game is going to be set up is that each player is going to get one of the sheets from the pad here. Each of these sheets come with 2 sides. So whichever side you want to play with, there is going to be a difficult mode as well as a simple mode. So in the starting, you can play with the simple mode, but there is not much real difference other than that some of the areas are already blocked in the difficult mode. So whichever side the players decide, you can take that side and only use that side for all the players. So once you have decided that, you're going to name your cartographer, give him a title, the benevolent, and if you want to give your land a name, give it a name, as well as draw any figure that represents your coat of arms. That's it. Then you can start playing. Now, how the setup of the actual game actually works is going to be that there are going to be 4 scoring rounds which are going to be activated at each of the 4 seasons. So in spring, scoring A and B is going to get activated. In summer, B and C. Then in fall, C and D. And in winter, D and A is going to be activated. So each scoring requirement is going to be activated twice in the game. Similar to if you have played Isle of Skye, then this is going to feel very much at home how the scoring works. But what are the scoring requirements? For that, actually, these cards have been provided which are going to serve as different conditions which can be every time randomized that you can play. On the back side of these, there are going to be some symbols which indicate what kind of objective it is. There are 4 different kinds that are going to be there. So you are going to make separate piles of them based upon which are available. And then once you have made 4 separate piles, you can shuffle them and pick randomly one and place it anywhere you want. So that is going to automatically randomize the different objectives that are going to come in each of the rounds. This one I already did. Trees I did. For houses, let's take this one. And the last one is going to be this. And now these are going to tell me that what does A mean, and there are going to be different objectives that are going to become activated. All the other scoring cards, scoring variations, are not going to be activated, but these are riffs on the same kind of mechanism that are going to be available here, whether it's wheat and water, whether it's villages, whether it's forest, or it's the number of rows and columns. Normally these are the different scoring criteria. So every time you're going to have a different variation or combination of these scoring mechanisms under which you will be having a variety to play with. Return the remaining to the box. So what are these different criterias? We'll have a look, but for sake of simplicity, I'm not going to go into too much detail of what each of these criterias are going to be. Just understand that there are going to be different criterias under A, B, and C and D. Then what else are you going to set up is your polynomial representation cards, which are going to tell, because this is essentially a flip and write, so you are going to flip a card to tell what symbol you are going to draw, which is represented on these cards. But these cards will not be just used as such. In each of the season, there are two additional decks that come with it. One is the villains or monsters deck, and one is the heroes deck. So you are going to shuffle the monsters deck, and without looking, you are going to take one of the monsters card and place it in the deck as well. Same thing for heroes as well, that you're going to not look which hero is going to come, take one of these cards and place it anywhere in the deck as well, and then give this whole deck a shuffle. So this is going to become your draw pile. And from this draw pile, at least we know that one monster and one hero exists in this season, which can come up, which may not come up as well. How the game works is that you are going to flip a card. Luckily, directly a hero came. I'm going to just flip it 2 cards down so that we can see its effect later on. First, let me start with something simple. So for example, we have discovered a settlement. A settlement is using a village symbol, which is a house shape. Then other than this, so this limits that you have to exactly draw this shape or this symbol inside the shape that you are going to draw for the polynomial. What is the actual polynomial that you are going to draw is you can draw either, whenever there are 2 options given, you have to take one, and each player can take their own preferred symbol. So being an active player doesn't give you that only this becomes available. No, every player can choose by themselves. So if I take this one, I will be crossing off 2 of the boxes with this symbol, plus I'll be getting one of the gold coins. Or I can ignore this. I'll be still drawing this symbol, but with a bigger shape. So it lets me complete a bigger area by using this shape. So I have a choice. For example, what I take is the first one. So what I'm going to do, and I want to complete that over here. So what I'm going to do is first off mark the shape that I'm given, the polynomial shape, and then draw the symbol that I have, which are the house kind of symbol, which is very similar to an arrow, a blocky arrow. So I have now, which does represent a hut or a village. So I have found a settlement in this location as a cartographer. And this gold coin, there is a gold coin track at the bottom of every player's shield. So if that specific player has taken one gold coin, then he's going to cross one of these off as well, indicating that he has earned one of the gold coins. The more gold coins you earn, the more points you're going to get at the end of the round, and these do stack up. So for example, if you get some gold coins in spring, they will activate again in summer, they will activate again in winter. So the earlier you get more gold coins, the more points you will have ending up. In winter, if you complete gold coins, they only score in winter and never again. So that's why you want to get gold in the early turns as well. Plus, other ways of getting gold might be that there are these mountains on which you cannot draw any shape. But if you surround these mountains with symbols completely orthogonally, then you get to cross off you get to mine these mountains as well and get a gold coin from here. A reminder of that is this plus symbol at the corner of your sheet as well, which is showing a very small mountain and orthogonally 4 sides. So in this game, everything is counted orthogonally. Rarely, I don't remember any specific case, but maybe there is something, but officially everything is considered orthogonal. Nothing diagonal is considered adjacent. So to this mountain, this shape is adjacent, but this shape to this mountain is not adjacent. Then we will move on to the next card. But before that, there is one more piece of information on this card, which is going to be this symbol. So it says 1. So what that means is that you have spent one time to explore this, whatever is the unit of the time. You have spent one time doing cartography of this town. Since it was a town, it's less risky, so you can quickly explore and map out that okay, this town is this much big. Now, in each of the season, there is going to be a limit as well, and that's what you're trying to hit. That the spring season is equivalent to 8 units. So once there are cards equal to or higher than 8, as soon as that happens, then the spring season will be over. So we will open the next one, and that is also a 1. It's a lagoon, similar kind of concept, a shape and 2 options, a symbol and 2 shapes. So for example, again, I prefer to take this one because it lets me get another gold coin. So I also am trying to cross off everything around this mountain. So I can draw the water symbol and get one more gold coin. Maybe other players select the T. Now, what are the other things that the others will be looking at? Are these specific objective? What are these objectives? Now let's have a look. Since you have seen some of these cards, let me show you a few more of these cards, because this kind of card can come as well, in which you get 2 symbols. So it's a frontier dwelling. So there is a dwelling, but there is also farmland as well. So you, in your map, how will you mark it? Because there are some village houses as well as a farm. So you can represent it as a farm, which is these wheat fields, right, kind of diagonal cross hatching, or you can make it as an arrow, which is the hut shape. You can make that hut shape or a farm field. So in your map, you can make it as any of those. So now we have 2 symbols option, but 1 shape. So now it's your choice which one you are going to do. And when these kind of choices come, or even before that, you are going to be looking at these objectives. Let me just bring these objectives over here so that I can easily see them and tell you what these are. So just to give an example what these are going to be. So in spring season, A and B are going to get activated. A is related to forest, which is going to, so for example, what does this symbol mean? That earn 2 reputation stars for each forest space in the longest unbroken column of the forest space. So if you have multiple forest columns, whichever is the longest column, you will get 2 points per column space. That's what you're going to get. So if I make only 1 column, that's fine as well. But if I have 2, whichever one is the biggest one, I'm going to get more points for that. Then there is going to be this one, Claus Grove Peak, which is going to earn 5 reputation stars for each mountain space connected to a farm space by a cluster of water spaces. So the farm has to be connected by a water space to a mountain space. So if I'm able to do that, which is currently where I'm going at, I have a mountain space connected to a water space. All I need is a farmland now, which is actually, so the mountain peaks, ice is melting through these water channels and reaching those farms. So if I'm actually able to achieve this, then I'm going to earn reputation points, 5 reputation points per farmland that I'm able to, per mountain that I'm able to connect in these kind of chains. But if I'm unable to connect them by water, the examples are shown on top of the card as well, I will not be able to. So that tells me what I want to aim. So here, if I'm able to do it, I will be able to do 2 things in one go. I can make this T shape and I can rotate it in any orientation that I want. So for example, to make this T shape, if I go with a shape like this, so I have made my T shape in a laying down orientation, plus I have made it into a farmland. Now what this did is that this farmland connected to a water is connected to a mountain. So in the end, I will be, at least at the end of spring season, under B criteria, I will be getting 5 points for this. Plus, within this turn, I was able to surround everything around this mountain. So this coin I can now cross off, which is going to cross off another coin here. So now I have 3 coins within this turn. Now, next thing that can come up are the heroes. Now, heroes are the protectors. If there are some monsters on your board, then they can help you kill those monsters, because monsters give you negative points. But what the heroes will be able to do is kill the monsters, or they can even protect your land in absence of monsters. So even if there is no monster, which is currently the case, if you think your some area is in danger where you think other players are going to draw monsters, then you can put your heroes already there as protectors of the realm. So for example, if I think my this area is going to become crucial, I already have a farm. I just need more water to connect to this mountain as well to get more points from B. Then maybe I need this land protected and I don't want any monster to come here. So to achieve that, what I'm going to do is draw this. So the army is going to, the symbol shows a sword symbol plus 3 areas with a star, which is they are going to protect. So I'm going to draw one sword, which represents now the army is standing here. Nothing else can be drawn in this box. But these other 3 boxes are marked with the star, which means still these boxes can be drawn over by, we have not explored these areas. These are under the protection of this army, but we can still draw other kind of land areas under this area, on these boxes. So these are protected lands. Now, let's take the example of what if a monster does come? What happens when a monster comes? So when a monster does come, then what the first thing it's going to show is the orientation in which your player sheets are going to rotate. Now, what's going to happen is you are not going to draw the monster all by yourself. So for example, right now it's showing a clockwise orientation. So I'm going to give my sheet to the player to my left, and the player on my right is going to give their sheet, whichever condition it is in, to me, and it's going to come to me. And now I have to draw this monster over on their sheet. So it's the other players who are going to actually be doing bad things to you. They are going to draw the monsters and tell and look at your board and see where the monster can give you the maximum or the worst damage. And that's how the game balances it out. And that's why the orientation matters, because on 2 of the monsters it will be clockwise orientation, then on 2 of the monsters it will be counterclockwise orientation, so that if there is one more sensible player, only that one is not hurting the other player. It's the other way around as well. So now I have to draw the monster. So for example, here I see, okay, this player is going to complete this area or this objective. I can draw a monster over here to disrupt their plans. So you can be as creative as you want. Draw the troll faces if you want. This is a giant troll. Or for simplicity, what the game actually tells you is you can write T for troll and keep this open for reference of everyone, that okay, T represents a giant troll. Also, why this is important is that they might have an ongoing effect, bad effect. So for example, after scoring each season, destroy an empty space adjacent to the giant troll. So not only are they going to contribute to negative points, any alive monsters contribute to or uncaptured monsters contribute to negative scoring, but also any additional effect may happen. So for example, they create an ambush and they are destroying the lands around you. So in future, let's say the turn is over, round is over, then one of these empty areas is going to get permanently destroyed. So there was a troll here, so then the player might choose that okay, this area is completely destroyed and cannot be used. If that means in future you will not be able to fill a shape here, then that might be a reality and you will have to live with that. So in this way, once you have drawn the trolls or any monsters that come up, the sheets will come back to you. Let's say the other player for me drew, because they knew this area is protected, maybe they drew the troll over here. Now, let's see the example of how they contribute to negative scoring at the end of the season. When does the season end? So right now it's at 8. In future, more and more cards will keep on coming up. 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2. So that's 6. And as soon as we hit 8 or more, season is over. And at that time, the scoring will start. So for example, I didn't go through all the turns because that will make it longer. But anyway, this will give you. So for example, let's say I was able to make 2 forest here as well. I haven't looked at other objectives, but again, the text on them is pretty much clear and they will tell you how they are going to score. But right now in the first round, only A and B are going to score. So I'm going to show how that is. And at the bottom of each player's sheet, there is going to be the scoring boxes in which you can record your score. So there is a reminder given here as well that which are going to be scored, which scoring cards are going to be scored. So for example, this one says A, B, gold coins and monsters. That's what you have to score. So for example, for A criteria, which is the largest column of trees, for me that's 2. So for each tree in that column, I'm going to get 2 points. So that's 2 columns, or for simplicity's sake, let's say I was able to somehow make it like this. So now I have one column with 3 and one column with 2. So the largest column will be 3. So for each box of forest in this column, I'm going to get 2 score. So 3 multiplied by 2, that's 6 points. And for criteria B, which is each mountain being fed water, feeding water to the farm, is going to give me 5. Only one of these exists, so it's going to give me 5. But I have 3 coins, so that's contributing to 3. But now we will see how many empty spaces exist around the monster. So it's 1. Again, we are only counting orthogonal spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to contribute -8 score. And that gives me a total of 6 points. So even though I did score 9 plus 5, 14 score, but 14 minus 8, I was left with only 6 score because I didn't surround it. So in future, how am I going to, this troll is going to live here at the end of the round. Again, it's going to destroy one of my areas. Let's say I decided I'm going to destroy this area permanently and I cannot draw anything in future on it. In future, how do I handle this kind of situation is going to be that again, this deck will be shuffled up. Again, new cards will come up and I will try to surround this troll. The heroes can help me. In future, these heroes can come which have different kind of attacks. So for example, the knights, the wren, the lioness can be drawn, and leaving one space, she attacks in a horizontal direction. Then the wizard, the doll of Joel, can sit in the center and attacks. That's why I said there is only very minimal card which have some diagonal actions. So this card only attacks in diagonal directions. Whereas Doric, a simple dwarf, is going to attack in every orthogonal direction. So in future, these kind of heroes can be drawn here and they can help me kill the troll, at least parts of the troll, because trolls are rampant around these lands. So killing one area doesn't mean that the head of the troll gets killed off. This just means that in this region there are too many trolls. In this region there are trolls. In this region there are trolls. So you are killing parts of or some population of trolls in these areas. So, or you can surround them by other pieces of land. So as you keep surrounding them by any land type, Slowly these will get habitated and the troll will get captured. But if the round finishes before you are able to do so, next time, let's say this was the condition, so only two empty spaces were left, so it will contribute to -2. I was able to control a lot of population by surrounding the trolls, but still -2 came. Now, what happens if you hit this number which is required by the season before any heroes or monster come? Then the existing heroes and monster remain in the deck and you add in more heroes, one more hero, one more monster for the next round as well. So they keep piling up. So it might be possible that if a monster didn't come up in round number 2, then two monsters might come up in round number 3. So there is a possibility of that as well. And sometimes the last monster never came out or the hero never came out. So there are those kind of things. If you are unable to draw a shape, then you are always welcome to draw a single box of any symbol that you wish as well. At the end of the game, you're going up to total up all the scores from all these criterias. You are going to go through different criteria combinations, going to go through long-term planning, because even though I was focusing on A and B, but if the cards are showing villages, so pretty soon C is going to be scored as well. So you can start planning for it even right now as well. And scoring will improve. And because you don't have to draw those shapes in that round, your overall picture, your overall map is going to be scored at the end of the game. And based on that, you're going to get scoring. So whoever scores the maximum is going to win the game. So now that you have seen how the game plays, this game is going to be very simple and is going to evoke many similar feelings as many other roll and write games. Even though this is considered as one of the highest rated roll and write games, but it's still very familiar. You see polynomial shapes, you draw them. Now there are few things that does make it stand apart. My favorite mechanism in this one is of course the monsters one. So in roll and writes, always the bad thing is that you are playing kind of a solitary game, that you are just busy on your piece of paper and you don't care what anyone else is doing. But in this one, whenever a monster card is going to come up, that you do care how the other person's map looks like, because you have a part to play in their map as well. That to me was really a fun element in this one. You get to draw monster, plus you can use different kind of shapes to draw those monster. That's up to your own creative level. If you go to BGG website and look at the images and just look at how creative people are, they use color markers for each and every terrain, and these maps look beautiful once they are done with it. So you can be as creative as you wish with this game. The other thing that I do like in Heroes, why I bought the Heroes rather than the vanilla Cartographers, was of course the namesake, the hero cards. Because okay, now we have the monsters, but other than surrounding them, there should be something else, and that's what the hero cards do. They give you that additional level of oomph, that okay, now you have these protectors which can stand and intimidate someone else, that okay, don't draw here, my hero is standing here. You can protect your land if you draw a hero beforehand. If the hero comes later, he can be a protector to any other empty region, or he can be used to actually kill one of the monsters in the existing area. So they work both ways. I like that as well. Still, monsters are better than heroes and more fun mechanism than heroes, but the heroes do change a little bit of pace, a little bit of thinking, and do occupy one more space on your land, which might get blocked by something more useful. So, is it really worth it? But in the end, you have to set up that army to protect your lands. The scoring different things is going to be add to the replayability level of this game. Many games don't even have that, and still they are replayable. But that Isle of Sky like scoring system where there are different scoring methods, and you get to choose or not choose, randomly select every time. There is going to be different four combination of cards that come out, even though the themes are going to be similar. So every time there is going to be one theme around forest, one theme around the farm and water, one theme around villages, and one theme around the rows and columns. But they have enough variety within them that make it feel slightly different and give you a fresh feeling when you are playing. The two sides of the map, I'm not a big fan of those. They are just okay because some areas are blocked, fine. I would have preferred they had some better functionality as well. For example, some lava was spewing from one of them, and at the end of the each round you had to draw or cross off one of the areas. I don't know, something like that, some better functionality in the map. Right now these maps are just, to me, you can play with the other side and you won't notice the difference. There is an online map generator which can randomly relocate the areas of the mountains and the ditches or the blocked areas, and you can play on those maps. But as I said before, that to me that's really a minor replayability matter. It doesn't really contribute much to that, so I will ignore that. That doesn't add any points to this game. Now, if you're looking for a good roll and write game, then I can easily recommend Cartographer Heroes. If you are fresh out of polynomial based roll and write games, then sure, this is one of the best ones. But if you already own a polynomial based roll and write game, which you do like, then I will say you can skip this one as well. So it depends on where you are in your board game journey, in your board game collection, and based on that, decide for yourself. For me, if you don't have any such game, then yes, sure, this is one of the best. And if I had to recommend to anyone to get a roll and write game which is based on polynomials, then I will easily recommend Cartographers above anyone else before they buy anything else. So that's it for me. Hopefully this gave you enough information about what you can expect from this. All the pros of any good roll and write are here, plus the familiarity level is here, easy to explain, easy to play, and you can have an enjoyable time. Hopefully this review was useful for you. If you liked it, then don't forget to subscribe and like. That's it for me. Happy gaming.